Okay, we're at the NRB conference 2023, and wait, we must all hold our feet up. Show your pedicures. We actually have pedicures for this thing, like once in a year pedicures. Now, this is the most important issue because I know how to say your first name. I always say your last name wrong. So Billie
Jauss. It's like a house with a J.
House with a J.
Yep, Jauss.
Jauss.
Even where we live, we call the Jauss house. The Jauss house.
So tell us a little bit about your upcoming book from In-Game Press.
Yeah, the upcoming book is the title now, and I don't think they're going to change it, but we know how that is Baseball Family. My husband has been in professional baseball for 36 years, and I've developed a lot of community and relationships within that, and not just with people that I wanted to, but people that I may not have wanted to. And so this book's really about how do we view relationships, like the different levels of relationships that we can have with people, and loving the people that are put in front of us, understanding that.
So it's your area of your sphere of influence, the territory that the Lord's given you, and how are we reaching it for the kingdom?
Yeah, and it really, like the book, I don't believe is just for baseball people. It's for anyone that goes into new situations, be that here at NRB. How many people are you meeting and discussing things with, and you sort of evaluate, oh, I really, this person's great in this meeting. I may never see him again, but I'm still going to treat them with kindness and love. And so I go through the 9 core qualities of loving others. And I call it the starting 9 core qualities because it's a cheesy baseball. The starting 9 are the guys that go on the field, so they're very important, in the beginning of a game. And so I use that as the starting 9 core qualities. So we go into each of those 9 core qualities and how that relates to each of the relationships that we come in contact with. That accidental acquaintance that you just go in passing and, hello, how are you, nice to meet you, and move on into your social circle. Who are the people that you're sitting down with and talking with? And then it goes into kindred spirits. Those people that you meet and you're like you, Renee. I met you Thursday. I'm like, girl,
we met you. I met you in Florida, and you were running home because you had like a gazillion people at your house, right?
Yeah. I had. That was after the hurricane, and I had help. Oh my gosh, now I'm going to forget the name of it. I'll come to it again. But I had a group of people that come in to hurricane or disaster relief, disaster areas, and they do outreaches by going in and helping people clean out their homes and rebuild their homes.
And which hurricane was that one?
That was
Florida's
Ian.
Been hit.
Yeah, Ian hit us really hard. Yeah, Naples hadn't had a major hurricane like that really since Charlie back in the 90s. Maybe, in the 90s.
And then this last one, my brother was down for that. And I mean, they were playing the odds on whether to go because it looked like it was going to not hit Naples, and then all of a sudden it hit Naples.
Yeah, I grew up on the coast of North Carolina watching hurricanes, and the wobble, man. I always tell people, watch the wobble of a hurricane, because when it starts wobbling, you better go somewhere. So we stayed in the closet for 18 hours. 18 hours at my house. Yeah, we stayed in the closet. We'd go out to get something out of the fridge or something, but we lost electricity for about 5 days. We didn't have any damage on our home this time. With Irma in 2017, we lost part of our roof. We lost our pool cage. That one was harder on this, but Ian was more of a water storm.
We have an author, Andy Clapp.
In the Eye of the Storm.
I tell you,
love Andy Clapp's book.
We read it, my daughters and I read it after dinner, and he has the best questions in it.
He does.
And we ask them, and I ponder them. Some of us can have throwaway questions. He has really intentional deep. But I wanted to ask you something on your book. The name again?
It's Baseball Family.
Baseball Family. Okay, this is the question I have for you, because Anna Gray and I'm going to speak for you. Those
absolutely.
I don't know.
I was thinking we're thinking the same way. As soon as she's telling about this, I'm like, take it away.
We can be okay. She said something in one of our podcasts. Oh, Renee, you can go anywhere and feel comfortable. Well, I went recently to somewhere in California, and it was an award ceremony. I wasn't at the conference. I didn't meet anybody. I felt totally out of water. Like, she would have been shocked. So do you? You're not an introvert, but you were an introvert, but you actually tell your story.
I'm extroverted, but I need time to decompress too. I love people and I get energy from people, but after being around them, I love to sit in the dark on my bedroom floor, eat dinner around like nobody.
Yeah, I agree with that. And
Yeah.
I'm a total extrovert. So when I tell people that I need time to myself, they're like, "What?" But it's understanding who you are and what you thrive on.
But what do we do? What do we do as extroverts? Because we can drag it. We can drag it out and when we need to, but what do we tell introverts? Because we're not trying to change them, but how do we help them? And does your book
like intentionally
address that?
connecting with people, it
You
sounds
know.
like is your heart.
Yeah.
With the 9
Making
chords,
them feel
do you
known
address-
versus just.
I'm sorry, I stepped on you.
No,
I
go ahead.
apologize.
Oh, anytime.
Oh, okay. Anytime.
It's the truth.
Yeah, when I
There's
go
another
into the 4 types of friendships, and what I do is I take those 4 types of friendships and I apply the 9 core qualities to them. So those 4 types of friendships, when you take the pressure off yourself that you don't have to be everybody's best friend or you don't have to dig deep with everybody, that is such a freedom and release that when you meet someone, you're like, okay, accidental acquaintance. This was just a God appointment that God put me here for this moment. This is just the time that I'm going to spend with them, if that be to smile at someone or to kindly open a door or hold a door or to see someone struggling getting out of their car and give them a helping hand. You don't have to dig deep with those people. It's not your responsibility to be their best friend for the rest of your life. And that
It's great. I need this book.
so free.
Yeah.
So the thing that freed me of it is I want to be everybody's best friend forever.
Yes.
I want forever family with every person I meet. I want to stay in touch. I want to do. In writing this book, Baseball Family, when I first pitched the book to Victoria at Endgame Press, I pitched it as the starting 9 core qualities. And when I started writing the book, these 4 friendships popped out like, you're not leaving us behind because we can't generously love everybody the same.
That's good. Are you an empath?
I am.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
we all are.
We are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a big heart. I'm a huge giver, and that's also giving of myself and my emotion to others.
Yes.
Okay,
And
this is what
that's
we want
so
to talk
draining.
about. Yes.
That's so draining.
We
So
do.
when you step into an accidental acquaintance, you don't have to give everything of yourself because it's in passing, but you have to give everything in the moment. You give all God's love in that
I
moment.
love it. So you kind of identified it.
You're
this is
purposeful
where
with the
it
time you're
is.
given.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
so
so
you're
when-
being really an exceptional good steward of the time that the Lord has given you.
And so then with your social circle, let's say you're in Bible study with people and some are really people that you might want to stay in touch with, some are not. They're not accidental acquaintances because if you're in Bible study, you're there 9 weeks or 10 weeks, whatever it is. Or if, for me being on a baseball team, it might be a wife that comes up from the minor leagues and is there for 5 days and then goes back to the minor leagues or is traded to another team. And you don't always stay in touch completely. You might be friends on Facebook or Instagram or, watch their TikTok or whatever, but you're not invested in them. But when you get to that kindred spirit, that's when the investment begins. That investment of, I'm here for you whenever you need me. But it's when they become forever family that you will lay down your life for them. That you will, if they call, you're in a car going to their house, or you are making sure that they're taken care of. Or, I talk about different things that you can do in each of these levels for each of these nine core qualities. And it's like sending a note or you might write a note to a social circle or a kindred spirit, but you write your heart in that note to your forever family.
So good.
Okay, well, so here's the deal. Did you
No,
wanna
go ahead. I'm really resonating. My toes are
What
stuck.
I'm really loving about this is you're giving yourself permission not to have to contact everybody and you're really not.
You can't be everything for
responsible.
everybody all the time. Even in my texting inbox, I struggle with that because I've even been called out by some people who I don't have a super strong bond with. And I'm not meaning to delay replying to them, but I feel like I have to literally sit down, carve out time to write like a monologue because I feel like I'm not giving all of myself. I'm an all or nothing person. And
Well, and she's actually this is really wild because we're both like that, but I tend to do it less, and I didn't even understand the word ghosting, and then when I heard it, I didn't want to
millennial
understand.
term. Welcome to
But she was
2020s.
You're giving her all the millennial words, or what is it, Gen X words?
Yeah,
or-
well, and I'm going, no. And she'll say, Renee, I'm not ghosting you. And I'm like, Anna Gray, I know, I trust our friendship. I trust that you're a forever family.
We're
I don't
kindred
need to talk
spirits.
to you.
That's it.
Said we're kindred spirits.
Oh, you're forever family. I think you're even deeper.
Yeah. Yeah. But so, I mean, the deal is, I hate to say this, but you can run into that person for the second time, and they do move into a different level.
They
because,
can.
I mean, everybody starts out
Yeah.
as an acquaintance.
And guess
right?
what? Forever family may not be forever. It's just the deepness of forever. So there may be times that, you know, I think back in my baseball life of spending some very intense summers with women, whatever they're struggling with or whatever I'm struggling with, and we've helped each other through it, and we've bonded, and we are connected at the hip, and we still love each other, but I haven't seen some of them in 10 years. Physically have not seen them in 10 years. But if one of them walked up right now, it would go right back to
Right.
that.
I love that.
However, I don't, like you were saying earlier, I don't have to be on top of everything with them at all times. You know, I might not be invited to their kid's wedding because it's a smaller group of people. They may feel, I had this happen the other day, a baseball family lady I ran into, she's like, do you know that I wanted you to invite you, but we had a very limited guest list, so I had to, and I'm like, girl, I didn't even think twice about it. But because we're in that deeper relationship, we can be honest and transparent and vulnerable in those times. You know, one of the starting 9 core qualities is selflessness. There's a different level of selflessness with my forever family than it is with my accidental acquaintance. I'm not going to lay down on the floor for you to walk over me if you're an accidental acquaintance. But if you're my forever family, I know you're not walking over me in selfishness. You're walking over me because I'm being selfless because you need that support right now.
That's
And not
just
walking
great.
over
It's
in
almost
a...
like boundaries of friendship.
It is. It is.
And so the deal is, how do you go about life? Do you identify it as this, or you just realize your first connection with everybody is priceless? Let's make it what it is. And so, how do you go up the line and decide? Because you're not sitting
It's
there
so natural.
You're
Yeah,
not
it's so
labeling.
natural. That's one
Yeah.
of the things I found hard in the book. I'm like, I don't want people, like if you're doing this book as a group study, because we do a lot of group studies in baseball, and it's like, if you're doing it as a group study, it's going to be hard because people will be like, well, am I your accidental acquaintance or your kindred spirit? Am I forever family yet? And I don't want to, it's more, I don't want to label, but I want it to be that natural process. I want people to see it as a natural process of where God takes you, where not you're forging through. Because we can forge into relationships. And this is my past. I was a forger, man. I want deep relationship. I want to be your friend. I want to be your friend forever. And it's like, no, the Lord hasn't put me there to be your friend forever. It doesn't mean you dislike me. And I think we as women sometimes are like, well, man, she didn't text me back, so she doesn't like me. She doesn't want to spend time with me. And that's not the truth. The truth is that life gets crazy sometimes. And sometimes that little number on our text messages that says 24 or 42, it's like, oh, I can't, it's too overwhelming. I can't do it right now. It's not that we love you any less, but we have to put out the fires, you know, put out the fires of what needs to be done, take care of our forever family, and then move into, and when I say forever family, it might not be your family members. I had some family members that are more like social circle than I do our forever family, you know, of my extended family, where my kids and my husband, they're my forever family. I am going to stop everything to take care of them. I have a few girlfriends that I'm going to stop everything to take care of them. But that number is so small, where your social circle could be the 5,000 followers you have or friends you have on Facebook. That's an accidental acquaintance.
Okay, but I want to get back. No, please.
Do you think that people ever fall into hero or savior syndrome too, as they're like, because I feel that way, like, oh, I have to be the one that rescues them, that makes them feel known, they've never had a friend, and I'm going to be the one. And it's, what are your thoughts on that?
I think it goes back to the God appointment. What is God's intention of you being there? Because sometimes we can push our way into things, you know, the savior syndrome and a lot of things, and charities and generosity. We're going to go in and we're going to save this group. We're going to be there for these people. And it's like, that's not what God put you there for. He put you there maybe to be generous, and that's the 9 core qualities, but he might be putting you there to be selfless and to actually listen and just to be, you know, to sit next to them. Compassion, to be compassionate, to show them love they may have never shown, but it doesn't mean that you have to be the one in their life forever. unless that's where God's pulling you through. And that's when we go back to defining the labels of these 4 friendships. It's really more about not defining the label, but watching the path of where God is gracing us into.
But because it goes back to baseball, like the shortstop, I mean, he can do a lot of different things, but I mean, he has a major role.
Yeah.
And if he's not doing that role, then, but he also knows when to back off and let it be somebody else's role.
Well, it's funny you say that, because in the book, I take the 9 fielders on a baseball field and I apply them to the 4 friendships. So the outfield is the accidental acquaintances, because they're really not in contact with each other much, but they still communicate when they need to. And then we go into the social circle, which is the first and third baseman, because they're within the heart of what's going on, but they're far apart from each other. They really aren't in the heart of what's going on. And then we go into the kindred spirits, which is shortened second. And I describe it in the book a lot better because of the lingo I'm so used to. I don't want people saying, oh, I can't understand baseball, I can't understand this book. No, it's just relating it so you can sort of see how things work. So shortened second are the kindred spirits, but when you look at the Forever Family, it's that pitcher and catcher. And the pitcher and catcher is not the same every night. It's a different pitcher, mostly the same catcher, but those 2 are the ones that are working the hardest on that baseball field. Those are the 2 that have each other's back more than anybody else. But the kindred spirits are behind them to hold them up if they need to. So I go into that in the book.
Well, I can't wait for this. But I do have a question on particularly helping introverts, because we as extroverts can go over there, and like I can go in there as the shortstop and all of a sudden start taking over the third base, taking over first base, going down the outfield, chasing I'm a squirrel.
I'm an 8 on the Enneagram, so if that gives you any indication.
I'm a 4, and I'm a 7. I think I'm a 7.
I'm a wing 7, so I like the party too. I like the celebration, but I'm a go-getter, so like you're saying.
Well, no, I need my downtime. But how do we help people with different, because otherwise we can very well, and I've recognized this myself, I can go in and take over a situation, particularly within my kindred spirits, my forever family who are my children, and I can overshadow and make it all about mom or something, and I'm not. And I don't mean
no, I know. I understand.
Psycho mom. I
understand.
So I mean, how do we watch this? How do we bring the introvert? Because I do have some introverts in my family, and how do we?
Yeah, one of the things I give a lot of practical tips. I'm a practical person, so I give a lot of practical tips, for lack of a better word, in the book about what it looks like to act on each of these 9 core qualities. And so when you're talking about an introvert, that being compassion looks different to an introvert than it does an extrovert. So I talk about that in the book, is how can we be compassionate to others? And in those practical steps, I really tried to cover what it would be for an introvert and what it is for an extrovert without, laying it out, introvert, extrovert. But what are some of the things that will resonate with each of these people that we're not going in and taking over with compassion to run everything, to do everything, but the introvert can come in with compassion and sit and listen. I talk about being an empathetic listener. And that's something as an extrovert, I had to work on, girl, because I don't like quiet. If there's quiet in a conversation, I got to say something, I got to do something, I got to put something in.
Yeah.
However, my words are sometimes just spewing, and they're not meaningful, and I'm talking over the person. So in that empathetic listening, we can sit and pause. And one of the things that I've learned is empathetic listening for me a lot of times is to pray for the person as they're speaking, for what they're speaking about. And then if I'm praying for them while they're speaking the words that they're speaking, about the words that they're speaking, then I'm giving them time. If it gets quiet, I pray. It's listening to the Lord. Where's the Lord guiding me in this? Where is He guiding me in these friendship levels? Where is He guiding me in each of these 9 core qualities? Where is He guiding us in those times of, I'm a bold person. I'm pretty out there. I can be really energetic and take over a situation and feel like I'm trying to help the other person, but it's not always helping. It's looking at what are those God appointments that are happening, and where can I step back to allow the other person to thrive? Where can I sit back and let the introvert step up? Where can I encourage that introvert to take a step of faith rather than being afraid or standing back or being overwhelmed, but really understanding where God is pulling them?
So, in a way, what you're doing is, well, one, you're seeing another person, you're seeing another individual, which I think we all want to do, is be seen. I mean, even the extrovert.
Be seen, known, and loved.
Yes.
I see you. Once you empathetically listen and apply those 9 core qualities to that connection, they know they're known. And then as you grow in relationship with them, the love of Jesus is seen in the moment that you meet them, but as you grow, that love is extended even more.
Okay, I do have a question, because this happens at family gatherings. Okay, because we have a mix there. We don't have the acquaintance thing, but how do you?
But you do if you have a new girlfriend or boyfriend come in.
That's
There's your
true.
accidental
I never thought
acquaintances.
about
And as a
that.
mom, I have 3 sons. When a new girl comes into the mix, man, I'm like, okay, she's an accidental acquaintance right now, but she could be forever family. So I'm not going to treat her in a kind of way that would give her a bad taste about who I am, but I could move forward with her, but I may never see her again. I had one son that had a revolving door of girls at one time. It was one after another after another. I'm like, I'm going to love them while they're here, Lord. I'm just going to love on them. I'm going to let them know, but moving forward. So go ahead. I'm sorry. Your family.
No.
It is a dynamic.
I don't know if you have this at your family, but there's a mashup. And so there's some people who are quiet, again, introverts. How do you organize that? Because at the end of it, I have one of my kids will come and say, I wish I had a chance to talk, because everybody's, it was like, who's the wittiest? Who's cracking the funniest joke? I mean, how do you make room for that when it's not just one-on-one, when it's just not the short stop?
It's in the pause. You have to take a pause yourself and see that that's happening. Because many times I'm like a train wreck, man. I'm just going, and my family can get loud and we can get overwhelming. And
like everyone's trying to get the mic and be the loudest and be heard.
And my oldest son's fiance is very quiet and very observant, and she is lovely. And sometimes you could just see her shrinking in the background. You know what I mean? And so to be aware, I think is the biggest thing in that when you're in a group of people, if you're evaluating, I'd go back to the Bible study again. When you're a group of people and you have a table of 8 women, you can sort of evaluate in the beginning who's who. You just see it. You just have, you can evaluate who is the introvert, who's the extrovert, who is here to learn, who's here to teach, because not always is the leader the teacher. There's somebody in the group that may want to teach, and you have to help them pause to allow others to speak, whatever it may be. Same thing in family. It's just being observant of who is the one that's taking over the conversation. Me and my oldest son. We'll take over and we'll just run, and we can just run through every topic. And then every now and then my youngest son, who's our debater and game show host in our family, he'll give a little quip or a little question or a challenge or but to understand that dynamic in your family. Who are they and where are they? And that's more of those 9 core qualities that people step out in certain ones and not in others. So for you to step into one that may not be natural to you, to help that natural core quality come out of that person. Compassion. Sometimes I can be overwhelmingly uncompassionate to my family members because I'm just talking and getting things done. And I've got to make the dinner, and I've got to set the table, and I've got to do. But I don't, because I can reach out and say to my sweet little future daughter-in-law, who I'm already calling my daughter, and say, Tara, can you come help me? And pull her into it, because she serves and she loves and she's compassionate, and sometimes I can overwhelm that, but to pull that out in her, to understand that some people that really are selfless at heart can end up getting run all over. And if you understand that is a core quality within them that blossoms when they're allowed to, but not overwhelm them, because our personality may be a little more, I hate to say harsh, but at times harsh. I can be harsh at times because I just bulldoze, right? So understanding other core qualities. Pool, bulldoze.
Oh, as in conversation? In what type of setting between the two of us? I feel like we always like go back and forth. We think a lot the same way.
I'm leaning.
I can. See, I appreciate you saying that though, because that is something I was recently thinking about lately, because I was, I met up with someone who was more quiet, and I started to realize, am I just trying to save them every time, and I'm like quashing them versus even giving them the room to say anything at all, because I'm that person too who's very much, I can deal with silence, but I also, it's this innate feeling in me that thinks, oh no, there has to constantly be something going, and not giving the other person the room. And
Or I have to fix it.
Yes.
Or I have to fix it.
See,
Or I
that's a
have to
project.
teach them. I have to teach them. I have
feel
to
called
tell
out.
them what God's
is
telling
good,
me. And
though.
sometimes God's telling you something not for that moment, but for you to sit on it and really pray about it, And I'm like, I just spew the word, and I need to take that step back and really understand what these core qualities that, because it's sort of like, not all of us have the same core quality, right? So sometimes if we're, a servant in a way that we're over-serving, in my first book I called it the right hand syndrome, where somebody goes, oh, we need someone to volunteer at school. I'll do it. I did it with my left hand, but I'll do it. I didn't want to hit the mic. I'll do it. Yeah, you're good at volunteering and doing stuff, but is it really God's best stuff for you? Or are you stepping into a place that someone else that's more
That
quiet
right there.
Yeah,
could
That right
have
there.
had an
That's right there.
opportunity to serve?
She can read my brain.
Yes.
And
yes.
that, when you start looking at the 9 core qualities that I have in this book, you really do look at, wow, I'm not so strong in that one, but I want to work on it. So how do I do that? I find someone in my circle or in my forever family that's really good with that core quality, and am I allowing them to use it because of my personality? Am I allowing them to use that core quality to the best of God's ability, or am I squashing it because I'm overwhelming them with another one that I'm comfortable in? So that's where I hate to say it's like a personality test, but it is. It's like, what are your strengths and what are your weaknesses? And you've learned to work in the weakness, the weaker one, and not squash the stronger ones, but balance them more. And then in some situations, you may have to bring that one out in a stronger way, but allow the other person to bring theirs out in a stronger way.
Because in the end, God created us the way we were.
Yeah.
And we have to
Absolutely.
work with what He's given us.
Yeah.
When does your book come out? When will we be able to actually get a physical copy of
It's
this?
coming out in the spring of 2024, so
That's
still a
so
little ways
exciting.
away. So not too far in the publishing world. It's not too far. Everything happens so fast, but we're really excited about it coming out. I'm super excited about being with In-Game Press. I just love what they're doing. No, not yet. That should be coming in the next couple of months. During the summer, I think the cover will come out. And I love to share, like a lot of time with my other books, and I'm hoping with In-Game too, I'll have a couple of options, and then I put it out on social media, like, which one resonates the most to you? I haven't been big in, book cover reveal. It's more like, help me choose, help me, And I love to take people along with me.
I do think we ought to mention our hometown minor league. Okay, so my hometown minor league is the Greensboro Bats in North Carolina. Yours is remember, the High Toms?
Oh, okay, listen, I'm having her to feed me the information. Yes, of course.
Not a baseball
The
girl.
High Toms.
I threw her off.
I'm pretending that I totally am like
Baseball.
baseball person.
Yeah.
I've gone to like one game.
Yeah.
That's sad when I pause. I'm like, wait, what? We have a sports team?
We do.
Minor leagues are so fun. I mean,
So,
the minor league ballparks are really fun. I
Well,
love
it's High
it.
Toms and Thomasville.
We have to combine because my town is so small, so we are within, the High Toms.
Okay, and
Yeah,
we
High
have one
Point
in
is-
High Point too, and I forget who they are. High Point, North Carolina.
We have another?
Yeah,
I'm
we
getting
have-
it all
yeah,
Yeah,
wrong.
there are, and there's one in
Thomasville, don't
Hickory.
represent me on this portion.
There's one in Hickory. There's one in just outside of Raleigh, and they're going to kill me because I know the guys that run the front office, and why am I drawing a blank on
Okay,
it?
don't worry, it'll come back to you.
It will.
Tell me about the ones in Naples, your minor league team. There.
No minor leagues. We have all they are some minor leagues teams. I'm going to back up, but Florida is more about the Major League spring training.
Okay, I went to Plant City during spring.
Did you really?
Well, I went to the Plant City Strawberry Festival, and I couldn't figure out why all these people here, and they're talking spring training, spring training.
Yeah. So yeah, Florida's really big about that. We don't have one in Naples, but the Red Sox and the Minnesota Twins are in Fort Myers. And my husband actually works for the Washington Nationals, and their spring training's in West Palm Beach, Florida, with the Houston Astros. We were with the Mets for a few years. They're in Port St. Lucie for spring training. And all of those towns have minor leagues, like A-ball teams. So it's really cool. It's a cool area. Baseball saturated.
Well, it is. But let me, true confession here, moral tea confession here. I love nothing more than going to a minor league game, spending time there eating hot dogs and drinking a soda and spending the evening there, even with the hard chairs. That's the one thing that's really hard on your lower back.
Okay, I didn't know that about you.
We were talking
about that this morning.
Road trip.
Where you said, you know how you can be so close to someone and you have those because we're like, I didn't know that about you. I had no idea.
Love baseball games.
I will wear a jersey with you, just translate
and
the
I don't
game
have a
into-
jersey, but I just love going places. I
that.
love the pace. I love the beauty of it.
Well, I'll go to a game with you guys. So people often ask me, like, how many baseball games have you seen? I'm like, honestly, I haven't counted, because if I did, I might go crazy. But in 2021, I went to over 120 games.
My gosh.
No, I
won't say how many I've
With my husband.
That's a great way to relate.
Oh, no.
And
He's
move
in the
him up
dugout. He's in the
up.
dugout. I'm in the stands. I don't hang out with him.
Yeah.
So the wives hang out together. But then I also had, in 2021, my youngest son was a college coach, so I went to games with him. And then my middle son is a mental conditioning coach for the Arizona Diamondbacks, and I went to a couple of games with him. So it's like I do a lot of baseball. And then we did winter ball. So in 2020, we were in the Dominican Republic for winter ball, which is their major league season. So we were there for 3 months. And then we were back in winter ball this past year in the Dominican Republic. So a lot of baseball. I live a lot of baseball.
I want to give a shout out to our favorite baseball family locally that we know, the Lance family, Becky Lance, and we want to say Hudson Lance and Gabe Lance, who play. They are really great athletes.
Awesome.
And they play high school still. But
well, my oldest son that lives in Raleigh is an area scout for the San Francisco Giants.
He needs to go check out a Hudson Lance.
He's probably
amazing.
already been there, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
So he sees so many high school and college
And don't ever
games.
call him Huddy. He's Hudson.
Oh, funny.
Yeah, I knew Hudson. Like, my daughter held Hudson for the first time. She was the first person who held him over the father.
That's
because
so
she babysat
crazy.
him. and
That's
all that.
awesome.
I mean, all the family.
Yeah.
So
that's
yeah.
awesome.
But no, do you have any other burning questions?
I'm excited for her book, like legitimately. I'm not saying that to sound like word candy. I swear it feels like my brain was pried open and read, because this has been my struggle, and realizing, like, am I being a good steward with my faith and this? And I'm excited to see how you break all of this down, because I am very much an absorbent empath. And so we expected it in 2024.
Yes, in
So
spring
right
of
around the
2024.
corner.
I think the goal is to get it out around opening day for baseball.
Oh, that's awesome!
Yeah, so that's
you know
the
what?
goal.
We ought to like promote, like, go to your local.
I know. It would be awesome.
Minor league and hang out, and we all take pictures and like post it and put
awesome.
Hashtag
Take
you.
the book with you and take a selfie at a minor league
Okay, say
ballpark
the
or major
book-
league ballpark.
Say
That's
the
a
book
good
name
one.
again.
It's Baseball Family.
Yay!
Baseball
Thank you
family.
for spilling
But
the tea on.
Yeah, thank you for spilling the tea with us on Moral Tea. But and thank you for being at the in-game press booth.
Excited to be here. I'm
at
so excited to
NRB.
see you guys.
I
It's nice
mean,
to meet you.
It's nice to meet you too.
But
So
we
very
do
nice.
want to. I threw this on her. I said we had been hashing around like a question we could ask everybody at the end, and I said, okay, so I just went, okay. Like, if you had and I don't know your platform, but if you had a national platform, a voice over all the nation, and I mean over this nation, and you could ask one question to all the people here in the United States of America, what would it be?
I think it would be, are you loving the people that God's putting in front of you?
So good.
Because, you know, it's like, today I met a man from Uganda in passing. We just all met him.
Introduce me.
Yeah, I met him in passing. And that was a God appointment. What if I had been just too rushed, too busy, trying to get in the doors when the doors open to the expo? What if I had been, just flippant to him asking me where I'm from or what I'm doing here, and didn't pause and look him in the eye and ask good questions of him? So are we loving the people that God is putting in front of us?
Man, that's so good.
That's something that just, and what it is, it turns us away from being people who are spectators, are always looking at name tags, and we're looking at faces, and we're saying, you matter, I see you, and I know you. Yeah. So
That's a good question to ask about a question. I love that. Good job, girls.
but we thank you very much.
We do thank you. That was awesome. I'm like, I feel called out in the best of ways.
I just, I pray that this book gives us freedom to love without the burden to love. Do you know what I mean? Like, sometimes we feel like to love on others or to be their friend, it's such a burden in a sense, like we need to do this, we need to do this, we need to do this. And it's more the freedom of, no, God may put people in your life in passing, but be aware of the people that are there for that moment and forever.
Instead of a checklist agenda, it's a blessing. And we do it that way. Well, I think it's been great. Do you have anything else, my dear?
I feel very I don't know, soulfully full.